Welcome to day one of our summit, where each of our special guest speakers are presenting some foundational principles. What does it mean to be an empath, a highly sensitive person, intuitive? All of these amazing basic skills, whether you've known about your sensitivity for a long time or you're just brand new to this, we invite you to just tune in. There's going to be some great golden nuggets for you to grab onto here. And I'm so excited to chat today with just an amazing person in our field. He's been doing this for more than 2 decades. And this is Michael Smith, who is a Ph.D. And he's worked as a coach to help empaths and highly sensitive people recognize and cope with their gifts. As a trained counselor, a former professor of counseling, and an energy medicine practitioner, Michael's webinars, videos, books, and audios have reached millions of people worldwide. Michael, I'm so excited to be connecting with you here on the summit for such an important topic, which is your sensitivity is a gift, not a burden. So welcome to the summit today.
Thank you, Bevan. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to get started and to welcome to all the listeners. I'm sorry, the viewers today to really, I hope to be able to share with you how you can use your sensitivity that may feel a little bit overwhelming to you at times. It may feel like, oh my gosh, the weight of the world is on me. We're going to discuss, and thank you, Bevan, for inviting me to do this, to discuss and share with you how you can take your gifts, your sensitivity out into the world and use that to change the world around you in a good way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, we kind of want to start with, because there's a lot of people who are watching who would say, I'm not even sure this is a gift. Like, this feels like a burden to me. What are some of the common challenges as you've worked with all of these different people in the last couple of decades? What have you seen that empathic people really struggle with?
The number one most common challenge is, having a nervous system that is feeling like it's on overdrive. And if you tend to identify more with the label of highly sensitive person, you may have run across some of the research, some of the terms called SPS, sensory processing sensitivity, which simply means that you have a mirror neuron system in the brain that allows you to perceive energy in a way that is heightened than the average person, right? And so the biggest challenge and burden is when you're feeling overwhelmed, or when you're feeling like you're sponging energy, or you're feeling like you're absorbing somebody else's emotions. If you're a physical empath like me, you feel that in your physical body. Maybe you're an emotional empath and you feel sad for no reason. The skills that you're being asked to learn by a highest self and by source and spirit is to be able to ask yourself the question, what if this were actually something that I could harness to understand people on a deeper level? And what if I were being asked to serve as a mirror? How would my world change if I realized that this was a gift from the divine, the gift from source, to be able to then take that, and how would that reframe your experience, and knowing that you can help, as you came here to serve, you came here to serve source, creator, God, great mystery, whatever you want to call that. And so I think that's probably the most common challenge, is the feeling of being overwhelmed or kind of sponging and absorbing too much. And then what we're being asked to do in 2020, the theme of this year that I just keep getting over and over from my clients and the empaths that I work with in my classes and coaching, is what are you going to do differently? What are we going to do differently? What are we going to commit to? Commitment. This is the big word that if you're on my list, or if you've come across my work, or if you're watching this, it's probably no accident that you're watching Bevan and I together, because there is a certain synergy between the two of us. And part of, I think, the theme of our work is that we're committed to helping you harness your gifts so that you can help others. So commitment, what are you being asked to do differently in 2020? It's, you know, we're a couple months into the year here now, and it's like, okay, how are you doing? Reassess your commitment to you and your self-care. So for a lot of empaths, and getting back to your original question, it's kind of a two-part answer, Bevan, is that I think with a lot of us, when we feel overwhelmed and when we absorb so much from other people, we use maladaptive behaviors in a way that doesn't serve us. It serves us temporarily. Like we may go to alcohol, we may go to food, which is a huge one. I know it has been for me in the past. And we may use alcohol, we may use junk food, we may use sugar, you know, that's a big one. We may use relationships, sex, whatever, anything to get us to distract ourselves from what we're feeling. And then of course, the biggest, I think the biggest addiction of all is disassociating, kind of like floating off to our heads and overthinking. So being grounded is something that is really important for a lot of empaths, is to come out of the head, just realize that you can just, you know, like listening to the birds. I'm now aware of the birds that are in the background. What are you aware of? What are you, like right now in the silence? You can breathe.
And that's so powerful what you're talking about here, Michael, about how like just getting quiet helps us to understand and see some of these patterns where we may be trying to numb, or we've done that in the past. And I've been, I've been in that place too, where I'm like, wow, I don't want to feel all these things. Like I just want something to help me distract and to get away from that. But getting quiet is such a powerful piece. How does that help us to move from being a sponge where we're taking everything in to being a mirror for what's going on around us?
I think that's a really big, it's a really important metaphor that will change your reality. What if you just simply thought of yourself not as a sponge, but you thought of yourself as a mirror? And that's one of the techniques that we teach in the classes and the coaching. You know, one of the, in some of my books and things, if you've ever experienced that work, you've come across the mirror technique, where, you know, if there's something that's bothering you from another person, you feel like you're getting energy projected at you, which sometimes can happen early on in your awakening. Well, you think of yourself as a mirror. What does a mirror do? It reflects back light. So rather than focusing on the energy that you perceive around you that is low vibrational, or that hurts you, or doesn't feel so good, you know, kind of like yucky, lower vibratory energy, whether that's emotional or physical, one of the skills that you're being asked to do as an empath is to focus on your ability and your responsibility, our responsibility, right? Our responsibility to focus on where you feel the best. So like right now, we'll take you through a little exercise. It's really quick. It's awareness, presence, grounding, physical body. Where in your physical body right now do you feel the most clear, lightest, least amount of restriction, right? So heart for me, and hands. For you, it may be somewhere different.
It's like right here.
Your crown. Yeah. So now we just simply ask source and your body, the wisdom of the body, connect that energy wherever it wants to go. Relax your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is an area where most empaths have trouble. There we go. And now when you relax the diaphragm, you let the energy into the upper chakras. So the diaphragm is often chronically constricted in empaths and sensitive people. Because of all the input we receive, we tighten up, we go on lockdown. Well, when you tense the diaphragm for 3 seconds and then relax it, and then do it again, tense for 3 seconds and then relax, and tense and relax. That's called the diaphragm pump. And what you do is you bring the energy up, allow it up into the heart chakra and up into the crown if it's blocked, and then you just become more of a hollow tube for source, for joy, for happiness, for love. And it allows you to be more of your authentic self.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you touched upon how empaths can receive all this energy from around them, especially other people's emotions, which seems to be a really big challenge for a lot of people. How do they differentiate between their own energy field and the energy of something else, whether that's another person or the collective?
Yeah.
How do you help them do that?
Very simple. You just simply ask yourself the question. You know, this is kind of where you involve the mental intellect, and you can kind of discern what's yours and what's not. I would just say, you know, for the benefit of the human mind, do not take this literally, okay? For the benefit of the human mind, probably, let's just guess, 60% of the stuff you experience is coming from somewhere else, external. It's a label to help your mind understand that we're all in this giant soup, we're all in it together. You are perceiving energy of your mother 1,000 miles away, or your cousin, or your lover, or children, or whoever, right? All the time. And we have energy cords that are formed between us and other people. You know, when you're on the phone with someone, your energy is flowing back and forth. So sometimes, you know, like if you're on the phone with someone and you suddenly start to feel sad for no reason, you ask yourself the question, what logical reason do I have to feel this way? And if you're on the phone with someone, and it's usually going to be, the answer is going to be pretty clear. Well, I don't have a logical reason for me to feel this way. I'm probably feeling the energy of the person I'm talking with on the phone. It gets a little trickier when you really don't know where it's coming from. So what you do in that case is you ask yourself the same question. If it just feeling just comes out of the blue, you say, what logical reason do I have to feel this way? And the answer a lot of the time for empaths and sensitives is, I don't have a logical reason to feel this way. So in that case, okay, that's step one. You've identified it's not really coming from you, what you know is you, right? The whole very deep discussion here. But for the benefit of the mind, you simply then, step two is you hold up your hands basically to the universe and you say, well, I really don't know where this energy is coming from, and I don't need to know. Now, when you give yourself that experience of not knowing, I'd be willing to bet, because I've seen this over and over and over, that it just takes a lot of mental pressure off. So that's one of our addictions, is overthinking, trying to figure things out. Oh my God, where is this energy coming from? Is it coming from this person or this person? Just throw up your hands to God and say, you know what? I surrender. I don't need to know intellectually where this is coming from. And then everything gets very quiet in the mind.
Yeah, when I've done that kind of an exercise, I've actually felt whatever the physical sensations were of some other person's emotions or stress, like literally leave my body. It just goes, as soon as I realize it's not mine. And I think what that's helped me to realize, Michael, and I'm not sure how you feel about this, is that we get to decide what comes into our field and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's just when we kind of go through life kind of unconsciously, just walking around, picking stuff up. But as soon as we become conscious and we make those choices,
Right.
It kind of changes things, right?
It does. And you're a sovereign being. Okay. So what does that mean? You're sovereign. This is what you're getting at, Bevan, is that you have the right to say no. You have the right to set boundaries and to basically say, you know what? No, I'm not gonna, usually unconsciously, there's usually a reason why you are sponging or absorbing energy. And for the early part of my career, I went around, like a lot of empaths, and sponged and had to constantly be in a state of clearing myself, which is not a lot of fun. And as you amplify your energy and your connection to source, though, you strengthen your energy field so that you actually are like it. You have the divine source protection. You are the mirror, so that like anything that you feel and perceive from others kind of either bounces off you because you're connected to source, or what you just said, the intention is, I will not absorb other people's stuff. It is not my job to fix, rescue, heal, clear, transmute. It's not my job to do that. And if you have an unconscious desire, like a lot of empaths and sensitive people, to help the planet, boy, you're going to sponge even more than the average empath. So what you are being asked to do is really take a close look, and thank you for bringing this up, at your own unconscious beliefs. And that's what I do in all of my work, is help you excavate those unconscious beliefs that are stuck down there. And that's what empaths do, is we serve as the mirrors of light. Sometimes we serve as the mirrors of what's hidden, the unconscious stuff that's getting in the way. That's where if you choose to use your gifts in the world, you can. So that's, if you're a counselor or a life coach or a healer in any way, you have an ability, like I do, like Bevan, like anyone, to be able to uncover and excavate the unconscious hidden stuff, the lower, the beliefs that are unconscious that don't serve you. So you can use that ability to serve as a mirror to see what's hidden in someone. You can see the wounding or the shadow self just as easily as you can see the light or the person's potential, the person's passion. So what you're being asked to do now, what we are being asked to do, is to look for the positive signals, the love, the laughter, the light, the person's hidden potential that they're not expressing, which oftentimes is related to around the throat chakra. You get a lot of blocks and impasse if you ever feel energy accumulate in your throat. That just simply means you are being asked to address your own tendency to suppress your own truth. So we are being asked to be committed in 2020 to making new behaviors. And part of that for a lot of us is vocalizing our truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's been my journey. You know, I was extremely introverted and didn't like to speak up. And, you know, you and I talked right before this, like, oh, as two introverted empaths, we're like, oh, what are we doing on video on a global conference, you know?
Right.
But really, the fact is that you can summon that understanding of yourself and summon that courage to get out and say, I really do have something important to share.
Yes.
And there are other people that need to hear what you've learned, the path that you've walked.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with you more. I mean, it's like, it's just taking your own journey. The medicine is in your journey. You may not have thought of this before, but really your struggles, your whatever they are, your challenges, your joys, all of that makes you who you are. So you've got the shadow and the light, right? Or the darkness and the light, whatever word you put to it, the wounding, and then you've got your authentic true self, highest self, potential, passions, joys, authenticity, happiness, love, like that vibration. You put it all together and you say, this is who I am, warts and all. And like, you know, like one's self-judgments, what you love about yourself, your judgments against yourself. Like, I know for me, like, I'm part of the reason I think unconsciously why I don't like video is that I'm very expressive with my hands. Now, some of you are probably looking at it and saying, wow, that's cool. I know for internally though, that hasn't always been the case with me. I think like there's a small part of me that says, you know what, being expressive is not so good. Well, I'm just being honest with you. That's a hidden part of myself that I'm pushing past. And I'm coming on a summit and sharing our truth with all of us, right? And so share your truth. That's a commitment that we are being asked to make, and you are being asked to ask yourself, how can I commit to sharing my truth more authentically with others? You don't have to have a global platform like Bevan or the Shift Network. You just are being asked to ask yourself, how can I share more authentically in the context of my relationships, whatever that means for you. Loved ones, children, partners, whoever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because that leadership really happens at all levels, right? And what
Yeah.
you were touching upon before is it really, it begins with ourselves and understanding ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And so we've touched a little bit upon that self-care, but are there other ways that empaths can make stronger connections to feeling peaceful and tranquil and really owning their energy field? You know, what are some ways that they can do that?
Well, I think in order, or I feel and think that in order for you, it's been my experience that in order to experience feelings of um, highest self, which kind of erroneously is thought of as being up here, it's actually here and below. So this usually for most empaths, this is usually not the problem. This is usually pretty open
Yeah.
in most empaths. The problem for a lot of us is that we get like with that diaphragm, right? We get cut off sometimes, a lot of the time here, and then we get disembodied and we get disassociated. And if you've had any kind of trauma in your life, you know what I'm talking about. You leave your body, or you go up to the mind, or you go to other places. So in order to feel the source energy most completely here, it's not feeling it here, it's feeling it here and below. So engaging your root chakra, that's why I'm wearing the color red today, because I know that I'm like a lot of you, is that when I get out of balance, I get out of balance in my root chakra. So it's as simple as stepping into a hollow tree. Imagine a big old hollow tree in front of you. Feel it with your mind's eye, your hands. It simply takes the vibration of, when you imagine it, you call forth the vibration of the tree, which is one of our greatest allies, and it'll ground you. That's why I'm doing my interview here surrounded by trees, because this sunroom in the middle of winter keeps me grounded. So just feel, go down to the roots, take those roots down as deep as they'll go, and then breathe up slowly. On the inhale. And you can probably feel that as I'm doing it. You probably are synchronizing your energy with that beautiful tree. You're synchronizing your energy with the tree, and the tree will keep you connected to earth. And that's where you feel quiet, peace, joy.
And you can either be in nature and do that directly by having your feet on the earth and connecting with actual trees or water, or you can do just with this beautiful visualization that you took us through, where I could just feel all that energy dropping. I said, oh yeah, this is really clear as you were saying, but in dropping down, I was like, oh yeah, I need to be more connected here.
Yeah.
And it's always just a really good reminder.
Yeah. Another good reminder, real quick, is that if you can make it a practice to rub your feet together, that will instantly ground you. It instantly, because what it does, until you start to feel heat in the palms of your feet, or in the bottoms of your feet, you can do it in your palms too, but it's the same thing. It just opens up those energy centers in your feet that connect you even more deeply to wherever you are, whether you're inside or out. It's really a good thing to keep feel. If you can feel heat in your feet, it means that you're grounded.
Nice. And so let's touch upon, we already talked about some of the challenges and some of the struggles, and I'm sure everyone who's tuning in can really relate to those. What are the gifts that you've noticed? You've been on this journey for a long time personally. You've worked with so many clients. How, once someone really tends to themselves, really connects in, how do they start to expand and shine, and what happens?
Well, It's a process of accepting yourself for wherever you're at, and it's not judging yourself. So the original wound for all of humanity, not just empaths, in particular for empaths, is I'm so wounded and I'm so screwed up. What's wrong with me? And I would suggest that a lot of that, it comes from two places. A lot of it comes from others. It comes from, through no fault of your own, the energy that was, and the thoughts and patterns that were instilled into you through your DNA, both your DNA and your early childhood learning. And then when you add upon that societal conditioning, you walk around feeling everybody else's beliefs, everybody else's energy, everybody else's stuff. That's the past, okay? That's the old paradigm that we're now moving out of, that you're recognizing. To what degree have I been walking around with other people's judgments, beliefs, programming, energy, just energy in general, all of it. It's all emotions, thoughts, beliefs, it's energy. So you've been walking around with other people's stuff, and that's part of why the biggest wound for empaths is I'm doing it wrong. I'm not good enough. Who am I to get my gifts and talents out into the world? Michael's telling me I can use my empathy and my empath gifts to help others. Who am I to help others on a scale like this? Well, that's a question that I've been hearing a lot. And Bevan, I'm sure you probably hear that working with leaders, or you probably have encountered that. Right? And so that's kind of one of the things that many of us carry. And maybe you're at the point where you've excavated that and said, okay, I've carried that belief and now it's time to, or you've made a decision to move past that. And if so, congratulations, you're well on your journey, and we're all at different stages. So if you've never thought that this patterning is a part of all of us, now's the time to realize that to some degree, we all have that belief in us. And it's our job now to move past that consciously with intention and to say, enough, enough. And hold space for the vision of who you knew yourself to be as a child, all of the good traits of you, or when you felt the best about yourself. Maybe it wasn't childhood, maybe it was adulthood, where you had a part of yourself where you just captured your true essence, which is a little bit of spark of joy. There's something in your life that creates joy for you. The universe in 2020 is asking you to find that and do more of it. I think.
Yeah, having a life that lights you up, that just,
yeah,
I love that. I keep working on that over and over. I think, you know, that letting go process and that release is sort of peeling the onion and diving even deeper, and then just realizing like we are already whole, you know, and we can access that joy, and we're supposed to. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, your wisdom, your presence is just so incredible. I'm so glad to have connected with you as a colleague in this field, and developing a friendship, and I would love to just have you share with our audience, how can they continue to tap into what you're offering, how you've expanded yourself into the world. What is the best place after the summit for them to reach you and get connected?
There's a variety of ways you can do it. If you like to learn on your own, like a lot of us, 70% of us are introverts and don't like group classes. If you want to do it in a self-paced manner, I've got the complete Empath Toolkit course available. I will, if it's not already available, I will soon be available, a video course available. I've got live group classes if you're more of a group person. And even if you're not a group person, I would ask you to consider, Bevan, kind of the topic of your talk, you know, finding community. I do offer community, avenues for community through my group classes, the Empath Academy, and also the Awakening Circle, which is a longer 6-month group program. And then I also do one-on-one sessions, kind of scaling that back a little bit this year, but that's an option available. So go to empathconnection.com and you can take an overview, take my quiz, you know, and sign up for my mailing list. I'd like to do a lot of writing, so that's my goal for this year, is to do more writing from the heart.
Excellent, excellent. And, you know, if there's one thing that you would like to say to anyone who's watching today who maybe just went, wow, I think maybe I'm an empath. I think maybe I'm a highly sensitive person. What do I do with this? How do I even begin? What's next for me? What advice or thoughts would you give to that person out there?
I would say really focus on your heart, focus on you, because empaths tend to get lost and confused when we focus too much on the external, on pleasing others or living up to some other person's expectations. So focus on you, focus on your heart. What makes you excited? What makes you passionate and joyful? And the second part of that is use whatever makes you joyful and passionate, and commit to it. Commit to it this year, right now. Make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to ask everyone to declare your commitment right now in your own words to the universe. I declare that I am committed to, and then fill in the blank. And that's a good way to continue the momentum that maybe, hopefully, we've started here for you today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And we're just so happy that everyone who tuned in here was able to take away these incredible tools and ideas and strategies from Michael's extensive experience in this field. We hope that you keep working on grounding, keep working on finding your joy, keep letting go of this idea that you're not good enough, but that you really have something important to share and a way that you can serve and connect, no matter whether that's in your family or your local community or on a larger scale. It's all just so, so important. And welcome to this global community here, where we are making connections together and advocating for our sensitive way of being, because this is our normal. And you are exactly who you're meant to be.
Amen.